basically a business plan should answer a few questions for yourself. By the way, a business plan is not something that you make for investors. It is a plan that you make for your own company. One interpretation of that business plan is something that you will present to investors, and that story will be slightly different. Similarly, you will present plans to different people as well. First of all, it should address the problem in terms of what problem or opportunity are you, that's the answer that you need to have. Folks, don't take notes. I will leave the presentation here, so it's all there. We'll have talks as well on this. The second, which identifies what is the market that you're talking about, whom are you going to sell, what is it that you're going to sell about, how are you addressing it. This is the solution or the product or whatever else that you're launching to the market. Third aspect that comes in is how are you going to do this? What is the planning around with it? That tells you in terms of what is the kind of organization structure that I'm going to require, what is the operational planning that I will require. Remember, at the early stages of a company, especially when you're trying to make it at the, even before you have started, there is no reference point in terms of how you will do it. There may be reference points about somebody else having done similarly. Everything else will be assumptions. Everything else will be a statement of intent. ऐसे कुछ करना चाहते हैं, ये होगा तो वो होगा, ऐसे होगा तो वो होगा, and stuff like that. Most of those things will not prove out to be right. It will be some deviation. Now, whether the deviation is this much or this much is the quality of the plan. Expect deviations to be there. Therefore, expect the plan to have some flexibility in terms of things going wrong, some things going extremely right as well. But this third point is the most important thing that you will have into your career. Most people go into a business predetermined thinking this is what I want to do, and that's okay in terms of things. So whether there is the opportunity is this much or the opportunity is this much, they are either passionate about it or that is the one that they have decided to go about it, and therefore the first 1 and 2 is not likely to change too much. The only one that you can really define from, of course, if you were to take a practical point of view and say, okay, there is another market that is the opportunity of this size, the one that I am addressing is this size, I can be this large company, but in this market, you may still decide, because this is what I am passionate or interested about, or whatever that decision is. The first two emotionally are most likely unable to change in many cases. The only one that you can influence in many ways is this third, which is how you will do it. There are, again, the reason why this is also complex is because there are no right or wrong answers. There is a set of solutions that you have available with you. You make a choice of saying that this is what I will do. Often, especially at student level, we see, these are very theoretical business plans that we get from student level entrepreneurs, and sometimes from experienced professionals as well. When in the part of implementation, they write down everything that is possible to do in implementing a particular plan. And that's not strategy. Come, join us. Strategy is not about saying, listing out everything that is possible. Strategy is, at the end of the day, is about identifying from all the many options that you are available, which are the ones that you are choosing. So if you were to have a marketing plan, we often say we will do this, social media, direct marketing, hoardings, printing, brochure, leaflets, everything is included within that entire thing. And it is assumed that because you know everything or everything that could be done, that seems like a sensible business plan. No, that's just a list of options that you are available. Your plan is about choosing what is most relevant for you. What is not most relevant for you is not necessarily what the other guy is doing or what other people in the industry are doing. And let me give you a very quick example of it. One of the companies that we are supporting in Bombay is a company called GoGobble. They are into the online and on-phone food ordering business. And the traditionally accepted cost of customer acquisition in the online medium is about anywhere between 700 to 1500 rupees. So these guys tried all kinds of stuff in terms of trying to be a little more efficient. Thoda efficient ho gaya, came down by 100 rupees and stuff like that. So they started doing hoarding, they started doing little posters and stuff. None of that was able to get down the level of cost of customer acquisition significantly. The one trick that they did later on was a 7 rupee magnet with their phone number, and for ordering food, call up so and so number that they have got into the food. the cost of customer acquisition, the cost of repeat purchase, and I mean as a result of the repeat purchase and stuff like that, that has proven to be the most effective medium that these guys had used. The first 8-10 ideas that were traditionally used by all other companies really had no relevance for them. And that's the point about doing a business. It gives you a reference point of understanding what is it that you are measuring. It gives you a way to do it. The fourth one should address why am I doing it? I mean, not everybody wants to build a company of scale. Not everybody wants to say, I want to be a 1,000 crore company. Somebody could be passionate about making cakes and say, look, I want to make the best cake shop in Chandigarh, and that's perfectly all right. Somebody could say, look, I've worked for 20 years in a consulting company and I really want to start my own boutique consulting company. I don't want to be a mass market product. I want to be a 40 company. Fine, that's all right in terms of it. So therefore, the business plan should map your goals and your objectives versus whether this what I'm trying to do, does that map with my things or not. So it has to have a business case. If your intention is about creating wealth, and this is my way of now creating wealth, you have to figure out in the next whatever horizon you have, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, is that going to create wealth? Even some of you might want to start an NGO. NGO also needs to have a business plan. Business plan is a plan for your business. And the NGO happens to be a business. That you don't take money away from it as profits is a different thing. But wouldn't it be nicer for the NGO to be self-sustaining as well? Even if it is not, and even if you're working on donations, you need to have a plan on how you're going to implement it. So you have to identify what is it that you intend to do, and therefore see is this a business case that makes sense or not. Not all plans are going to be VC fundable. VCs don't invest in companies unless they have a tremendous ability to scale up. But that's okay. It depends in terms of what is it that you want to do. VCs are not the only ones which you will come to you can, like I said, you can have a small restaurant, you can have a small consulting company, you can have a boutique designing company, you can be an architect, you can be doing hundreds of things which are not necessarily VC fundable businesses. Also, many people assume that, I went to 6-7 VCs, all of them rejected me, so I really don't know whether this makes a business case. Just because VCs reject a business case, or when they say reject, they don't fund a business case, does not mean that business case does not make sense or it is not profitable. Often, many people come to us with business plans which, if they implemented it, could get them a lot more money than they would have got into a job. It's just that the scale of that business is not exciting enough for a VC to invest in, and that's perfectly all right. Profitability of your business versus what your own benchmarks for what you wanted to earn in terms of revenue, etc., could be very different than what a VC's expectation is, and it's perfectly all right in terms of doing that. Most often, especially in today's context when we see a lot of VC activity being reported in the press and stuff, it is assumed that the only option that I will have available for raising funds is the VC. Traditionally in India, there is one class of VCs that has been active for decades now, and that's the family and friends. Your uncle, your father, your elder brother, your elder sister providing a little bit of seed capital to say, let's start. They might not be a formally organized VC, they might not take equity into your company and stuff like that, but that is a class of investors that many of us have some access to. And I'll give you one example on this. How many of you have heard of Career Launcher as a company? They're pretty large in the education space right now, large in the education space. They had started this chain of schools called Indus World Schools. Have you heard of Indus World School? I think they have about 15-20 schools within their environment. Indus World Schools tried to raise funds from various VCs, saying that we want to raise some 20 crores and stuff. Nothing. Nobody believed that these guys could do that. They presented their business plan, and like a formal presentation done to VCs, they presented their plan. They literally in 6 different cities, they called friends in a gathering like this, made a proper business plan presentation, and they raised about, I think, 17 or 18 crores through investment of 1.5 lakhs or multiples thereof from friends and family. Literally, I mean there was no except for friends and stuff. So I make a 2.5 lakh rupee investment and I tell my friends, "Yaar, मैंने भी उसमें न डाला. This looks like a good thing," and people came over. This was about 7-8 years back. That investment has really, but it was such a, professionally done option of tapping into your friends and people. Of course, they put a little bit of money on their own, but everything else was, I think about 70, 80 people invested different levels. Somebody invested 2 lakhs, somebody invested 5 lakhs, 10 lakhs, and so on. Now, HDFC has picked up a substantial stake in that company at a significantly higher valuation. There are enough companies who have later on come in and done 1 crore, 2 crore, 3 crore raise through 5 lakh and 10 lakh investors. One of the platforms that we have, by the way, just as a way of introduction, I'm the co-founder of 2 platforms now that are not-for-profit platforms for supporting entrepreneurs. One is called the Hatch. The Hatch provides mentoring and assistance to help companies convert help aspiring entrepreneurs convert their ideas into businesses. And the second is called the Angel Investors Consortium. The Angel Investors Consortium helps startups raise the initial seed capital through small investments by senior professionals and recently successful entrepreneurs. So typically, if somebody needs 25 lakhs, it might be difficult for you at that stage to go and convince somebody to put a 25 lakhs. So what we do is we fine-tune your business plan and we get maybe 25 people to put in a balance each. And who are these 25 people? It could be senior professionals, VP in a particular company, associate director in another company, and so on and so forth, or recently successful entrepreneurs who would contribute to the entire. So VCs are not the only funding option, but different but you still need to, even if you're raising money from if your father is giving you the money or your uncle is giving you the money, you still need to have a business plan for yourself and also for the, if you were to treat an investor as an investor. There are hundreds of internal uses for that business plan. More importantly, it gives you a very deep understanding of the business dynamics. Now, many people assume that I know what to do, and therefore I know the business around how that needs to be done. Knowing something and doing a business on what you know is a very different thing. I can make great cakes, and I have run the coffee shop for X this thing, so therefore I can start a chain of coffee shops is a false notion. You may be able to do it, but knowing how to manage a kitchen, no matter how big that was, versus running a business of coffee shops is a completely different concept, have no relevance to each other. So working on a business plan actually helps understanding the business case. It helps you in planning your business, helps you understand what are the dynamics of this business. If I do this, what happens? If I don't do this, what happens? If this goes wrong, then I have a big implication on this. If this goes right, then the upside of this could be significant. It helps you in many cases. It helps you prioritize, because otherwise we tend to say कि ये भी करना है, वो भी करना है, ये भी करना है, and often we lose track in terms of what is going to be most important. And there are a couple of slides later on which I will explain at different stages what is more important to focus on from an investor point of view. It helps you monitor the progress. Are we going in the right direction? How much are we deviating from that? What is the course correction that we would need to do? It will help you, especially at the early stages, if you don't have a team that is completely aligned and doing everything together. At the beginning of the journey, the entrepreneur will be doing 20 different things. You will be the CEO, you will be the program manager, you will be the marketing manager, you will be doing various things. You don't realize it, but you are actually wearing 4 or 5 different hats, or you're being 4 or 5 different people within that entire. And within that, to find time to manage the next set of 8 or 10 people that you have, especially if they don't get it in terms of what direction that you're going to go in, and if they are not able to make their own priorities, you will end up spending time in helping them understanding what today's priority is, what this week's priority is. Otherwise, they might keep on doing hard work very hard and very diligently, but it may not be aligned to the immediate goals that you have. The reason why this is all very important at the initial stages is because in the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter of your business, after you launched it, if you really don't show significant progress in the direction that you're going in by, it is difficult for others to take you seriously. They say, we have got Tricare, but I don't think he's going anywhere. You have to, the initial movement has to be really good, which means that the entire team has to pull in the right direction. These are some of the areas which define one successful company versus another company. The same good concept, a team is trying very hard. You want to be on the other side, which is not saying just trying very hard, but wow, this team has done something at the initial phases. It is important to have some fundamentally strong things and foundations that you put together. But it is also very important, especially at the initial stages, for people to start giving that respect, to have some show and tell things to them. Some things that you can put together and say, I did this. One of the things that I keep on talking to some entrepreneurs is that when we were in school, we had class 1, class 2, class 3, class 4. At some stage we knew we finished this class, we have now grown and we have gone to class 3. Now we have finished 3 and we are going to... In business, it is important for you to understand milestones. Especially in the early stages, things are very challenging. It will be very frustrating. All your team will be frustrated. It is very, very important to make small measurable time with this thing and take a Friday evening, maybe third Friday of the month or whatever, review what you've done and declare that now we are post the prototype stage. A for everybody, and think now we are moving through the beta testing stage. Now we are moving to like you move in school from 1 to 3, etc. It is very, very effective to literally set up some milestones that you can measure and say we have now grown up from it. It feels good. Everybody gets a sense of participation, and often you will find that because there are very few startups in India, the initial team that you will get will mostly not have experience of having worked in startups. They will have experience of having worked in larger companies, processes are nice, there are incentives and rewards that is happening and stuff like that. In a startup, there is really no measure for anybody to, sort of do these things. As a CEO, your role, and that has to be a part of your planning for the business, is about saying that how do I keep this guy or girl who is part of the founding team as excited about being here as she was when she joined us. And the reason I'm iterating some of these things is because going back to the earlier point that a business plan is not about an Excel sheet. A business plan is about these things as well. Typically, we tend to, and as CEOs or as founders, we tend to think of work that we have done only in terms of the product or a sales or business. But if you say, look, today I spend 1 hour each with all of my employees, you will not go back home and say, आज कुछ काम हो, so यार आज कुछ काम ही नहीं हुआ, सब मीटिंग में चला गया, कल से मुझे वो कस्टमर को मिलने जाना. This is a very, very important part of your work. If you put that as a big part of the business plan, saying that average retention, I will have at least 1.5 years of staying in my company for the first 50 employees. So that's the goal that you might that you set up. This will be an important part of your work as well. So a business plan, it gives you your ensures team alignment, helps you understand what you need to do. Helps you to senior professionals as well. Sometimes you might, either you might want to get a co-founder, you might need to get somebody else who will head a division, maybe at this stage, maybe at some later stage. Now, unless you have a vision that you can communicate, it's very rare that you will have a brilliant something that people say, wow, that idea is so good, I want to leave my job as VP at IBM and come and join this company, or I want to leave that job as head of marketing at Bata and come and join this company. It is going to be rare. What will people buy into is the scale of the aspiration, the vision that you have, and the overall, what will that be reflected in as a part. If you have a plan that you can talk sensibly with, you are able to hire senior people. Whether you hire them as consultants, as employees, or even advisory board members is a difference. the external users, and one of the external users is about funding, which is the investor related alliances. Why will somebody who is at international level, maybe some company in Spain that you want to partner here or have an alliance with, why will you do it? On the basis of your business plan. What is it that your partnerships, mergers, acquisitions, etc. Now, most people think of a business plan, and again, I'm not saying you would have, but I'm saying that many of the people that we have seen start with let me work on the Excel sheet, or let me work on the PowerPoint. This is the template of a PowerPoint presentation. Let me start putting things in. It's important to take a step back and just work on the story. What am I doing? Where am I likely to be? One of my mentors, and I've seen it, just relax, take a holiday, and see that film in your mind in terms of what does it look like? In 5 years' time, does that look like I will have 300 people working around? Will I have 5 offices around this and that? Now that's the vision. Once you start playing with that vision and figure out where am I, whom am I going to be, would I be among the top 10 people in the organization? Literally visualize what is it that feels like in 5 years' time, 10 years' time that I want to be within that entire. Break that down into milestones. So therefore, if that is what I want to be in the next 5 or 7 or 10 or whatever time period that you have, what would I need to be? So to be an international leader in the education space,